Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens Week 4 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. We're only 3 weeks into the season up to this point, so it's not the biggest sample size ever. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth in every sample of data you see, which could become bigger nuggets of truth as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you are new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So let's get to this game. So when it comes to the basic info, the basic data between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the data pretty much favors the Steelers. But it's really because the Steelers have been a team that, especially on offense, the Steelers' offense has just not been getting it done. I think the Bears game did show a lot of some of those inefficiencies when it comes to their offense overall. Basically, the ability to create first downs. That's the big thing that's really been hurting the Steelers' offense is the ability to create first downs with the offense overall compared to the rest of the NFL. Has not exactly been doing what it needs to do. The defense has definitely been very good in terms of preventing the first downs of teams, but I think that this is definitely something that I worry about in this particular matchup because you have one team in the Ravens that is pretty good and pretty decent on defense with a meh offense, and you have the Steelers who are not as good on defense as the Ravens, but they are, but the Ravens. Not the Ravens, but the Steelers have kind of a worse offense. So they're pretty much like the same, in terms of how they're built. It's just that one team is a little bit better on offense. And when I mean a little bit better, I mean both these teams are below average when it comes to creating first downs with their offense, but they're still pretty much in the same boat that their offenses just aren't exactly where they need to be. Then when you look at turnover ratio, this is the one advantage that I do think really does favor the Steelers. The Steelers have not turned over the football a lot compared to the Ravens, who have one of the higher turnover ratios in the NFL when it comes to their offense. When you look at sack percentage, it favors the Steelers, but they're both teams that do allow sacks. When you look at offensive score percentage, so the amount of drives at equal points, it's on the Steelers side. And a lot of that is because of explosive plays here and there. When you have an Antonio Brown, when you have a Le'Veon Bell, when you have players that can score fast and make big plays, you're going to have some scores. So I think that this is more so about the weapons that the Steelers have than anything else. And also the Ravens have been dealing with a lot of issues themselves in terms of their offense. Then when you look at defensive score percentage, it favors the Steelers, but the Ravens and them are pretty much evenly matched when it comes to that particular data point. Turnovers on defense has been on the Ravens side of things versus the Steelers. Sacks, on the other hand, has been on the Steelers side. The Steelers' defense has been able to create more sacks per drive percentage than the Steelers. When you look at interception ratio, favors the Ravens. A lot of that influence from the first 3 weeks of the year. When you look at the special teams data, both these teams are not the best when it comes to punt return yardage or kick return yardage, but the Ravens have advantages when it comes to preventing punt return yardage and kick return yardage. So that's basically the advantages there. Kind of go to the Ravens when it comes to special teams because of their ability to prevent punt return yardage and kick return yardage. Then when you look at field goal percentage, it favors the Steelers, but both these teams are not amazing when it comes to field goal percentage over the last 3 weeks. And then when you look at extra point percentage, it favors the Steelers, but both these teams are not the best when it comes to extra point percentage. Then when you look at the punting average, the Ravens are better while the Steelers are below average when it comes to punting average. So I think special teams wise, it favors the Steelers in terms of scoring special teams, but defensive special teams is definitely on the Ravens side, even though both these teams are not exactly amazing when it comes to creating yardage with special teams. So, but again, the basic overall data favors the Steelers, but it is important to keep in mind, again, as I always try to remind you guys, this is 3 weeks worth of data. Truths are starting to be more clear, but it's still only 3 weeks worth of data. So we still have a lot more football to go. But I do think, again, as more data comes in, I think we'll get a clearer picture of both these teams. But so far, this is what things look like. Then when we get to completion percentage data, so this basically looks at first down, completion percentage on various downs and distances. This favors the Steelers defense overwhelmingly. The Ravens are just not exactly very good when it comes to completion percentage on various downs and distances. When you look at the Steelers offense versus the Ravens defense is heavily favored. Again, it's offensive plagued teams versus defenses that have actually had some fun this year overall. In different ways. The Steelers have gotten a lot of sacks while the Steelers have gotten a lot of interceptions. Well, the Steelers have gotten a lot of sacks, but the Ravens have been getting a lot of interceptions. Excuse me. Then when you look at the rushing data, so this is basically rushing offense data, the Steelers defense is not exactly amazing when it comes to preventing the rush on rushing downs. Again, this has nothing to do with yardage. This has to do with preventing first downs with the run. And the Steelers defense has not been very good at preventing first downs with the run in first down situations, second down situations, but they are a little bit more evenly matched when it comes to third down situations. But overall, I would give this to the Ravens. When you look at the Steelers offense versus the Ravens defense, the Steelers have advantages when it comes to first down situations, second down situations, but the Ravens overwhelmingly have advantages when it comes to third down situations. So this pretty much favors the Steelers pretty much when it comes to this, but it's not exactly amazing. They don't really have a top-notch rushing offense per se at this point. Then when you look at passing, so you look at the passing situation, the Ravens passing offense versus the Steelers passing defense overwhelmingly favors the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. The Ravens passing offense has not been that great. Then when you look at the Steelers offense versus the Ravens defense when it comes to passing situations, the Ravens actually have advantages when it comes to first down situations, third down situations, but the Steelers do have some advantages when it comes to second down situations. The Ravens have not been doing the best when it comes to second down situations. So that's the only sort of advantage right there. When you get to sack rate, again, this is a crucial thing. The Ravens have not been very good in terms of preventing sacks on first down and second down. They have had some advantages when it comes to third down, but the Steelers have been very good in terms of creating sacks. Guys like T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, all those guys have been performing very well this year, whereas the Ravens have been having some issues with sacks. Not terrible, but I do think when you look at the Steelers, they're very good at preventing sacks on first down, very good at preventing sacks on second down. Third down, though, does favor the Ravens. I think that'll be a crucial thing to watch because most of the Ravens sacks have been coming on second and third down situations, and they're going up against the Steelers offense that's been having trouble preventing sacks in third down situations. That's definitely a matchup to watch in this particular game in terms of the ramifications it could have, especially when it comes to third down situations, which are crucial downs. Then when you look at interception ratio, the Ravens offense versus the Steelers defense, the Ravens offense, most of the interceptions on the Ravens offense has been coming in third down situations. So Flacco hasn't been throwing picks on first down. He hasn't been throwing picks on second down, but he's been throwing picks on third down. Crucial down and distance. That's the big issue. That's a crucial problem of this offense, is that when it comes to third down situations, too many picks in those situations. Instead of continuing the drive, it ends with a turnover, with a turnover of a turn of possession, if you will. So that's definitely a matchup to kind of look at in this game. And then finally, when you look at the Steelers offense versus the Ravens defense, overwhelmingly the Ravens defense just is favored. They've been very ball hockey this year. Now, they weren't as ball hockey as they probably could have been in the Ravens game. I mean, the secondary, I think, surprisingly got exposed to a certain extent in that game. But I also think that it might have just been, an issue of flying across country and playing in a foreign land, and stuff like that. So it might have just been, because of that kind of stuff. But we'll see. So overall, when it comes to this particular matchup, who do I think is going to win this game? Well, I'm leaning towards the Steelers, but I don't feel good about it. There are so many distractions on this team. And again, I'm not trying to say that the protests are... I'm not going to talk about the protests that much, but tons of just tons of distractions. I mean, they didn't handle the protest situation that well. Whatever message they were trying to say by it's just not good. So that's just the basic bottom line about it. So I think that tons of distractions. I don't feel good about the Steelers. I think offensively speaking, they just have not been doing what they need to do. The offense hasn't been efficient. The rushing game hasn't been efficient. They've been struggling this entire year when it comes to those particular matchups. They're going up against the Ravens that honestly were embarrassed, and now they have to play the Steelers. And both these teams mirror each other very well. I mean, both these teams are pretty much winning in similar ways. And again, you have one team that's really sack dependent in the Steelers, and you have another team that's very interception dependent. And I'm just not sure how this game is going to turn out, but I do says of some of the advantage. Plus I just think that if I'm going to pick a quarterback, between Joe Flacco and Ben Roethlisberger, I'm going to go with Ben Roethlisberger. Pretty much based on what's happened in the past, based on all that kind of stuff. So for that other reason, that's why I'm also going to pick that in this matchup. But again, it's just both these teams have to get their offenses fixed, and I think the Steelers have a better foundation, because that's the other thing too, is going into this game, the Ravens, in terms of skill position players, in terms of just tons of stuff, it's just been dysfunctional, man. So I just have to go with the Steelers here, because I think their offense is a little bit less dysfunctional than the Ravens' offense, if you will, in terms of star players and stuff like that. So, of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.